are right back into it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 51, night 2 of Under the Middle Rope. I'm your host, Jose Taboada, and yes, it is the second part of our WrestleMania follow with the coverage of night 2 this past Sunday, which we get into in depth what we thought of the night itself, and I think right off the bat, I'm not gonna sit here and say it was significant. I mean, it had its moments for sure, but I think it's safe to say it's weaker, but again, I'm going to go into that in further detail. The same guys from yesterday, RJ, Pete, Lex, they're all back. We couldn't get a hold of Nick, which is interesting because if I'm not mistaken, if I said yesterday, I think he lost a title that belonged to him on this podcast. But, we get into that right at the top of the show. So right now, all I can say is just sit back, relax, and enjoy our WrestleMania 37 Fallout Night 2. Hey everybody, welcome to the discussion. Same gang from yesterday's here. RJ, Alex, Pete. We thought we were gonna get Nick to round up the guys who were with us for the predictions, but Nick was nowhere to be seen, which means that we can make fun of him all we want for losing the podcast title, which of course was won by me this past weekend. Just in case, if you needed a reminder, not to brag, to brag. Oh, okay, fine. Just
if you weren't bragging, you would have never said that. Braggers say I wasn't bragging.
Yeah, and he knows you better than us, so I trust him.
Just in case, one more time, just with the predictions. Night 1, everybody was tied. It was a 4-way tie. It was decided by the tiebreaker. I forgot to edit this because I know Pete said I gave Wolf a point for Shane McMahon, but it obviously was wrong. So my bad. But in terms of night 2, like I said, night 2 was significantly worse for everybody. We're gonna get to the first match right off the bat with the Fiend. RJ,
I'm so disappointed in myself. Those last two, honestly, looking back, I feel like they should be like almost gimmies. I don't know.
No.
Oscar and Edge.
Yeah.
I don't know. Looking back, I was like, why did I really pick these guys?
I'll give you that for Asuka, but I won't give it to you for Edge because that was, and we'll get to the main event. We'll get to the main event near the end of the discussion. But I just think that at least with the triple threat, it was just literally unpredictable. I mean, at one point we all thought that Edge was going to take it, which again we're going to get to later. And then of course all decided by the tiebreaker, which I won, which was about an estimated time of 21 minutes. Which gave me the pod title, which is exciting. I hold that till SummerSlam again, and that's all I'm going to say on that because I don't want to annoy the three of them that I am Mr. WrestleMania of the podcast, like I said yesterday. So
you realize Mr. WrestleMania, as in Shawn Michaels, had a losing record at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's something I never really understood. I know he's had really good matches at WrestleMania, and he's put on a lot of very good performances. But he's got a losing record, and I know I said yesterday on the podcast that I didn't give a shit about Sasha's 0-6 record, but we're not calling her Mrs. WrestleMania.
True. So maybe you're one.
He has had like 5 of the best 10 Mania matches.
For sure.
Maybe Jose is more like the Undertaker because he has a streak.
Yeah. Sorry? Yeah, it's great. It's fun. Who is Miss WrestleMania?
Gosh,
as it sounds, maybe Charlotte.
Probably Charlotte.
Yeah,
I was going to say Charlotte, yeah.
However, she missed this year, which
just nullifies it. So it's up for grabs. So congratulations, Lana, on being Miss WrestleMania.
She debuted there.
She did, didn't she? Yeah, 32 in Dallas. With that being said, let's get right to the card because there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to start up with the match that opened up night 2 in Tampa. Randy Orton and the Fiend. The Fiend transformed back from his burnt, charred up self to his nice, clean mask look. Still horrifying mask look. Came out in a giant Jack-in-the-Box, which Alexa was jumping up and down, all excited for. Randy Orton came out in all white, which was a nice look on him, I must say. I actually like the nice difference, the new attire appearance. Yeah, I thought, was it you, Pete, that didn't like it in our chat?
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I figured.
It's very unlike him.
5 minutes and 50 seconds was all it took. And this match was all Fiend for about 5 minutes and 45. Just completely dominant. This was the beast that I think that WWE needed to rebuild because of what happened to him in the last year or so with Goldberg, and then getting set on fire. Like it just getting buried in this, and a lot of people were losing interest in said Fiend because of the Universal title picture that he was put in. And then all of a sudden, Alexa comes out from the box, all drenched in goo, ink. Do we want to call it that? What are we? Let's not answer that.
Squidward fluids. I don't know.
Ink?
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Squidward? Okay, fine.
I thought
She
it was
had-
like supposed to be coming out of her head in some way,
Yeah.
like her
Well, I think that's where
brain.
it was
It's like
coming
it's like her brains.
It's brain fluids.
Can't say guts because it's not guts, but
It's not.
It's whatever was
Dolores-
coming out of Randy Orton's mouth.
yeah,
Yeah,
whatever
she had like a little crown on. Orton with the distraction, the RKO, 1, 2, 3. Orton takes the win. I'm pissed. Night 2 opened up, in my opinion, on a disaster. It was fine until that RKO. I did not think that the RKO was that protected. Given
What's
its
the most
history.
dangerous 3 letters in sports entertainment?
Of course, I just
Didn't Edge kick out of like 2 of them at Backlash?
Yes, I think
Who
Drew kicked out
hasn't
of a
kicked
few of them too.
the Undertaker kicked out of an RKO at
Everybody is
WrestleMania.
kicked out of the RKO.
If it had been the punt kick, I would have been a little less angry, but it was the RKO.
Or
One
like
RKO.
3 or 4 RKOs or something. Like
Yeah,
5
that would make more
RKOs.
sense.
This is a guy who was destroyed with tools at Hell in a Cell a few years back, which pissed off the masses when he took on Seth Rollins. And yet 3 letters is this. I mean, I would have been more satisfied if Bray got the win regardless, and then Alexa betrayed him. Assuming it's a betrayal. Actually, well, by this point, after what happened this past Monday on Raw, yes, we can say that it's a betrayal. And it just sucks. It's just miserable. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I like, it's gotten to a point for me where I can say that I would be okay if I never saw the Fiend or Bray Wyatt again on my TV, because it's just that he just got destroyed. He got buried. That's all where I'm going to leave it at. RJ, let's start with you.
I'm not going to go too in depth into this one because I think the 2 of you probably have a lot more to say about it than I do as well. I've admitted to not being that big of a Bray Wyatt fan in the past to begin with, but even I think that this was freaking stupid last night. And there's no reason, and I think that this Fiend character could definitely work, and if you just build it as a monster, if it was a 5-minute match, that's cool if the Fiend just won, but I don't really understand why they just give Randy these random wins just in random matches that he has no business winning. I was watching with a couple other people that I would call much more casual fans, and they're like, oh, that was stupid. Randy won with just one move, like blah, blah, blah. Like, nobody enjoyed this. So I don't understand it at all. And I have been an admitted not big time Fiend mark, and it doesn't make sense to me at all. So that's where I'll leave it. I'm sure you guys will chime in quite a bit more than that, but
and that's really interesting that you say casual fans, because I mean, like, WrestleMania is at the time where, like, you know, it's a name that a lot of people know, even if you're casual or not a diehard fan, and they just know those big words. So you know this is going to gain a lot of attention. And when you have casual fans saying that is a concern. Lex.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of the polar opposite of what happened at night 1. Night 1 opened really strong, and everyone was really happy about it. And by the time this was over, everyone was booing. You know, the fans were not pleased about this. And, like, regardless of whether it's like a thing of, oh, the good guy lost, or the, I guess, quote unquote babyface lost of this whole thing, like, I think it was even less that and more just the fact that no one understood what was going on. Like, Alexa just randomly, you know, was sitting on the jack in the box with, you know, like we said, black goo falling down. It was a cool visual, and the crowd was doing the holy shit chant. But then Randy just won with one RKO, and just that was it. And I hate to say, you know, I've been a fan of the Fiend character. I think it's, you know, a good idea, but I think what WWE tends to do is they tend to, like, just look at something and just go a certain direction with it, whether it makes sense or not. You know, all the supernatural stuff with him, like, it didn't need to be like that, but that's, you know, they're kind of their wheelhouse. That's what they like to do with these kinds of characters, and that's sort of what we've gotten since day 1, pretty much. Like, I didn't expect him to be like a squash match, you know. I didn't expect the Fiend to just, you know, kill Orton, and the fact that it was a singles match and not like a stipulation match surprised everybody. But then it ended the way it did, and then they were both gone, and everyone was just really confused because there was no explanation. It just happened the way it happened, and no one really understood why, and that was why it got such a negative reaction. And you know, I don't know where the Fiend goes from here. He said he intimated on Raw it was a new thing for him. He's starting out new again, so we'll see. But yeah, this is not good at all. I think
that's an interesting point. That, like, I mean, yeah, we taped our first night 1 before Raw, And so we're sitting here today, going through the WrestleMania Fallout after Raw, and now you have the two separate. Now you have these two characters who look like they just will not interact. After,
right, they're not building anything off as Alexa and the Fiend.
Because normally,
separate now.
Right, because normally by default, by kayfabe default, I'm expecting Alexa versus Bray at WrestleMania Backlash, which is a pay-per-view name, but we're gonna run with it. And it doesn't look like it's going there, but I mean, again, it's only one night after whatever we can call that Raw was. Pete,
I was trying to think back, and I can't remember a decision of just who wins and who loses that has annoyed me more than this match in WrestleMania history. Just in terms of winner loser of that match. So I don't know. There's probably been worse matches at WrestleMania. There has, but just that decision is baffling. And apparently, it was a last-minute decision.
Yeah,
and
it was.
That last-minute decision was Vince and Bruce Pritchard. And they came up with this, and apparently the original ending would have seen Randy Orton written off TV for a few months, whatever that was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the original plan. So they would have properly sold the Fiend coming back and doing something incredible. And apparently, despite the crowd booing and booing and booing, Vince loved how this ending went. And I just don't understand how that can be a thing, because he's the only one who did. Even the talent were baffled, apparently. I think that was Fightful that we were reporting. The talent were apparently completely baffled by this decision. I love the Fiend character. In terms of a character, there isn't another one like him in wrestling, and I'm not you get your Brian Alvarez and people like that who crap on the character and go, "Oh, it's rubbish, it's supernatural, it's stupid." The same Brian Alvarez and that who love the Undertaker, but ignoring that. But if you ignore that bit, the actual casual audience, the general wrestling audience, and I'm not talking about the smart internet wrestling community, like the character of the Fiend. And you saw that when he came out. You saw it on night one when they even previewed it. That got the loudest pop in the preview graphics of all the matches on this show. When he came out, he got pops. Alexa came out. Holy shit chance. The crowd were behind this, and they were behind the Fiend winning this match. And if this match had gone exactly as it went, and Alexa came out exactly as she did, and what I was expecting to happen there is she was going to go, "No, don't use her sister Abigail, use something else, or do something else instead, or beat him down hard," and just almost control that finish. And if that happened and Bray wins that way, I'd have loved this. Instead, I despise it. Absolutely despise this. And the worst thing about this is later on in the show, they recapped it. Of all the things in this show that you want to recap and show again and give the audience, and they recapped and they showed the recap to the crowd again, and the crowd just started booing again. It's I just don't understand this. The logic on Raw and the storyline reasons that Alexa came out with, that makes no sense whatsoever either. There was no reason whatsoever why she would favor Orton in this feud. Not saying she might want to break out on her own, but there was zero reason to turn against the Fiend and go, "You know what? This person's maybe really powerful. Fuck him. Who cares?" No, I hate this. Hate this match. Bottom 10 WrestleMania matches ever, just because of that ending.
Yeah, just because of the ending. I did want to bring up one of Nick's points before we move on. Nick was telling us while that was happening, he's like, imagine if The Undertaker, after his mind games in the lead up to WrestleMania 20, came back the way that he did, how strong it was, how strong the promo was, how strong the entrance was, and he lost to Kane. And it would have just been a complete, it just would have ruined Taker. And he's essentially saying this is what happened to the Fiend. And I agree, but again, I don't know where this goes in. Yeah, and I do agree with Pete in the sense that I do think that this may go down as one of the worst. It definitely is. I think one of the worst WrestleMania opens. I also think
Orton wouldn't have lost anything by losing this match.
No,
losing to an unstoppable monster that's just returned. That loses you nothing.
No, it just makes sense.
Winning doesn't do that much for him either. It's just it kills Bray and barely helps Orton, rather than the opposite, which would have elevated Bray and barely harmed Orton. It's just so illogical. I just don't get it.
And after Orton won too, I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's the next challenger or something, and they needed to really build up Orton. And then he comes out and he loses the triple threat the next night on Raw anyway, so he's not even in the plans for it. So there's just no reason for this to happen. Literally no reason for this finish.
It is what it is, and like I mean, again, like after the hot start from WrestleMania the night before, it opened up with this, and we're asking ourselves, okay, could it be? Let's see what happens next. Let's see if we can pick up a little bit. It didn't. With the women's tag team championship, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler retained their tag titles against Tamina and Natalya. It was a botch fest. This was a botch fest. There were so many botches I think I could have counted. I'm pretty sure the guy from Botchamania is having a field day, as if he didn't already from night one. I was already like having more fun with just this match alone. I didn't care for it. I will say, I have to give props to the crowd. This is how you know the crowd's back when they want. The crowd cheers when they see something that they never expected to happen, and they just say, you know what, let's go for it. Tamina got one of the loudest pops of the night, I think, because fans just wanted to see Tamina have her little WrestleMania moment. Screw Natalya, but Tamina was getting cheered on all over the place. I'm like, oh, we like Tamina now. Okay, we accept Tamina. Power to Tamina. Again, and it just did not surmount to anything at the end of the day. I don't know. I guess I would have expected Nia and Shayna to lose the tag matches again, because WrestleMania is that stage where you have like those special crowning moments, normally title changes and whatnot, and it didn't happen, and so you're going, okay, I don't know what else to say. It was just a botch fest. I was bored. I'm like, in the first 20 minutes of WrestleMania, we're off to a really, really bad start. It's unfortunate because it's not, again, like night one off to an incredible start. You're going the complete opposite way for night two, when I think that you should have the same amount of hype, if not more, with these double events, which I think WWE needs to focus on if you're going to do this moving forward. RJ.
It was way too long.
Yeah.
That's really the main thing I have to say about this. Why were they wrestling for 15 minutes?
Yeah,
I'm assuming it went at least 15 minutes.
I do have the time, Jared. I was going to bring that up. The women's tag went longer than the United States Championship, went longer than Kevin.
It was the second longest match on this card.
It was the second longest match.
It had to have been the fourth or fifth longest match of the weekend.
It was definitely the 1, 2, 3. It was the third longest. It was actually the fourth longest match of the night of the weekend. RJ, continue.
And it was just 15 minutes of who gives a shit, really. Like, there's no reason for it to be 15 minutes. There's no reason for it to be longer than 5, 6, 7 minutes. Even my brother, who likes Nia Jax for whatever reason, bless his soul, was like, "Why are they still wrestling here? Like, let's move on to the better stuff." And it's just like, there's no reason for this to happen. I guess you can say that there was a chance that maybe Natalya and Tamina got a crowning moment, but I thought there was zero chance Shayna and Nia were ever going to lose this match. The tag division's a joke. I don't have any. I wish it wasn't. I think that they could have some potential if they maybe didn't split up some of their old tag teams and just throw together all these random 5 tag team ladies matches. It's just bad. It could get thrown away for all I care. They're not doing anything with it. Nobody's elevating the titles. The titles aren't elevating anybody. It's just, if they're not going to book it properly, then everything that involves the women's tag titles, I just have not cared about. So that's really all I have to say about that, unfortunately. And the match was just way too long and took up time from other stuff.
And I mean, not to mention, this was originally a title supposed to be promoted across the 3 brands: NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. Now that NXT got their own tag titles, it's like, well, Jesus. Like,
I didn't mind that, because then it makes at least the women's tag team champions are kind of like workhorses. It's the workhorse kind of belt almost. They don't even promote it like that. They're the only tag teams. They're the only superstars that show up on all 3 brands and don't even promote it as that.
Well, no,
so they don't do anything with it.
And again, I say that because, like, I mean, I thought at one point we were going to see an NXT women's tag team champion, and it never happened. And now they got their own titles. I mean, good for Shotzi and Ember. But Lex.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about how long the match was, you have to talk about who was in it. You know, it's 4 individuals who are not known for having the quickest, most fast-paced matches in the world. I don't even know if it was planned to be that long. Maybe it just went longer just by, happenstance. Maybe just because, like I said, if it was in it. But I mean, it's, you guys say it was botchy. I only remember like maybe 2 botches, like when Shayna once again kicked someone's tooth out, as she did to Natalya. When we all complain about Nia Jax being dangerous, but I mean, that's 2 people Shayna has damaged the mouths of with her kicks. the Samoan drop. I think there was like a Samoan drop thing that I can't remember. But yeah, like I said, I can't remember because this match was very unmemorable. Apart from the fact that Tamina was the most over person in the ring, people were behind. So for that reason, I thought, okay, maybe she's actually going to win. But of course, they have the finish planned out. They're not going to change it last second just because Tamina is suddenly over. Especially because they weren't even that over like the previous night. I don't think like this just sort of happened out of nowhere. So the nicest thing I can say is the crowd was into it. The crowd was behind, the good guys winning, but as we saw, they didn't. Natalya got Nia in the sharpshooter, which is impressive, but the referee did a very poor job of telling her that Nia wasn't legal, I guess, for the sake of the finish. And then Shannon just gets in there and chokes her out, and that's it. So, I mean, again, the nice thing I could say is that these two are being presented as a dominant tag team. The only problem, like RJ said, is that all the other tag teams are just thrown together with singles women that are just have nothing else going on. So, it definitely needs a shot in the arm here. We had some actual tag teams in the Iconics and stuff like that, but for some reason those acts get broken up and then get put into different tag teams, and it's just it's unfortunate when there's so many talented women. So much so that NXT had to get their own tag team championships, and they arguably have a better women's roster than the main roster does. So either they need to get some people on their side, or I don't know what they have to do. But yeah, this was the third nicest thing I could say is at least they got all the boring stuff out of the way, and it could only go uphill from here, which it did.
Sure.
But this was the kind of match it was. I feel like always going to be given the spot they were in. So, maybe next time, Tamina.
Peter.
Yeah, all I can say is bless this crowd's heart because they tried their hardest this night. They tried their absolute hardest, and they just got proverbially slapped in the face time and time again all night long. This was just another one of those. And yeah, I don't think it was that botch heavy, but it was just sloppy, mostly in the ring. And then that, as you said, Shayna is taking after Nia now in terms of getting a reputation for legit hurting people. Instead of Nia actually being elevated to maybe Shayna's level of being able to wrestle, it's gone the other way, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, I think the tag team division, the women's tag team division, is pretty much dead. Even any mild hopes I had for it was basically dashed last night on Raw. Like they were just treated like an absolute joke afterwards. The entire angle on Raw after was Nia Jax falling over twice. Yeah. So this dominant tag team is a comedy joke at the same time. And as RJ said, the second longest match on the card. It's an absolute disgrace when you see how short some of the other matches went. I don't understand why this happened. I didn't care really who won this, but the fact the crowd were behind Tamina and you still didn't even give them that moment or even call an audible to say, you know what, the crowd won it, let's pop them. They're already pissed off after the first match. Let's give them something to be happy about. And they didn't call it audible. I just don't really get where the decision-making was on this show. I didn't care who won because I honestly don't care about the tag match, but at least pop the crowd.
Yeah. I mean, and one of the other biggest botches that at least I brought up before we move on was when Natalya was going for the tag on Tamina, but Tamina wasn't sure she needed the tag. I'm like, wait, do I? No. Yeah. Okay.
They're waving their arms around
like,
a
just
little
like
bit.
make the tag, Tamina, you're there. But in terms of like this being the second longest match, I know I wish there was some of that time added on to the next match, which definitely got the crowd going. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Logan Paul.
Match.
What?
An actual match.
An actual match, yes. Logan Paul coming out to a thunderous roar of boos when he came. I mean,
that made it worth it.
I mean, if you have a WrestleMania entrance, you may as well strut your stuff. Like if
he knew it was coming too. Like he was like soaking.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I was in that spot and I knew I was gonna get booed, I'm gonna take my sweet time down that ramp. Yeah, as well.
Every time the camera was on him, just boo.
I mean, let's face it, I would love to walk down a ramp, even if it's like before a show. I mean, if I got to walk down that ramp, I think I would cry. But it like 9 minutes and 20 seconds, but it was solid. It was at that point the best match of the night, as if they had competition. But they let Sami wrestle, which was important. They actually let him do it. I was very happy. They gave him time. I mean, not enough time, I guess. Kevin Owens picked up the win, and Kevin Owens did. I mean, we all thought that Logan Paul was going to interfere. Didn't, which I was relieved. I'm like, he's just sitting by the commentary table. He's not moving. He's not getting up. Sami kicked out. He's still there. 1, 2, 3. Sweet. All right, we got it. He stayed put like a good boy. So good on him. Thank you, Logan, for staying where you are. And then he got, I guess, the stunner of a lifetime. I thought it was an okay sell of the stunner.
Yeah.
You sold it well.
Yeah, I think he's
I kind of liked it, actually, to be honest.
I think I did
good.
too. The way, I don't know, just the way that he fell and he rolled over. I mean, when it comes to a stunner, yes, it's how you start jumping after, but then after how you roll after, I think plays a key part in that stunner cell, ladies and gentlemen.
And then again, like
At least, and also he didn't do a Tyson Fury and just jump straight back to his feet 10 seconds later and start complaining. So,
and then again, like if you're not trained like how to take a bump like that, like jumping up, like pulling a Scott Hall wouldn't really work, because you don't know how to land properly. You risk hurting yourself. So.
I mean, it's funny because like how many people associate Amazing Stunner with when it depends on the jump, which Scott Hall I think set the standard moving forward from WrestleMania. RJ,
It's a stunner, right? So it stunned him, and he just hit the ground. You shouldn't be jumping back like doing a cartwheel.
It wasn't as bad as Donald Trump.
You're dead.
So.
Yeah, I've seen you're dead. I've seen worse stunners. Yeah,
yeah, like The Rock when he like pushes off the floor and flops around like a fish.
Oh, I love that cell. I
mean, The Rock. He makes it work.
It's so bad, it's good. It's
Yeah,
kind of like,
exactly.
I mean, like you've had guys like Donald Trump take the stunner. You've had guys like Vince
Oh,
McMahon in his early days who just fell. Like he's like, Vince, react, like do something.
Donald Trump took the worst stunner. Like,
Yes, by far.
Anyways, aside from all that, not a bad match. In fact, a solid match actually. They got what they deserved. I think they owed it to everybody, and they owed it to themselves to deliver. Because a lot of people were, I think, and I know at least speaking on behalf of the four of us, were frustrated with how Sami was being presented and treated, and so I'll take this. Sami got the offense, and he got some work going, and it's a relief to us all. Pete.
Yeah, all I can say is thank the bloody gods that they actually let Sami Zayn wrestle for once. This was way too short for my liking. It was under 10 minutes, and we've seen from Battleground what they can do with actual time. So I didn't like the fact they kept cutting to Logan Paul. I know he's there for the celebrity attraction, but it just took me out of the match a little bit every now and then. It's like every 10 seconds, here's Logan Paul. Boo. Like, okay, I get it, but can we watch the match? I kind of want to see the match now. I don't really care about this guy. I know some people apparently do. I'm not one of them.
Where's Logan?
He did sell it well. I'm not going to deny it. I'm glad he didn't get involved until then. He did his job. But yeah, give this another 5-10 minutes. Let it try and live up to its Battleground from before. Or at least something like that. I still think Sami Zayn's going to be leaving the company when his contract expires. I just don't think I'm curious whether or not they're even going to mention this documentary from now on, or whether that's just it. He's done with it now, the conspiracy theory thing. It was good, but too short. It didn't really live up to like Cesaro, Rollins, and Night One, in my opinion, either, in the terms of that technical match. But it was good, and obviously far better than the first two things in the show.
Lex.
Yeah, no, what can I say? Sami and Kevin become the first duo to, and I know I shouldn't be naming stats after what happened the other day, but Sami and Kevin become the first people to have a singles match on both TakeOver and WrestleMania. So there you go. I'm pretty sure that's still true. But they obviously we've seen them have better. Obviously, it's Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They've had a zillion matches against each other. They have amazing chemistry. They always have. They always knock it out of the park, no matter what promotion, what show, what anything. So this obviously wasn't the best match they've ever had, but it was definitely the biggest stage they've ever had a match on. And for that stage, they did great. They made the most of the time they had. Like we said, Sami Zayn, he's a great performer. He's really great at this character he's playing. He's great at playing the character and everything. But I think people who have seen him for a long time, want to see him wrestle. And he had the match with Daniel Bryan last year where it was just him running away and Bryan having to fight off Cesaro and Nakamura, and then Sami hit like one move and beat him. So like it's not the Sami Zayn people have wanted, and I guess that's how you get someone over as a heel. You don't give them what they want. You don't give the fans what they want to see. But it's been he's been doing this character for a really long time, and I think people were just kind of fed up with it. They want to see him do what he's best at, and he got to do it. Of course, Kevin Owens gets the win in the end, and Logan Paul being a good sport takes the stunner, and Kevin Owens becomes the biggest babyface of the night and the only babyface who to stand triumphant at the end of the night. But it was good for what it was. Obviously, there were some nice callbacks I noticed, like when they did the JBL and actually even pointed one out when he hit him with a haluva kick and then sent him up for the second one. Same thing as Battleground, but this time Kevin Owens reversed it and everything and got the win. So I liked it from that perspective. I do wish it had gone longer, but they made the most of what they had, and good on them.
RJ.
I think it was a little disappointing. I'm not going to say the match wasn't good, but I think I'm going to use the words that Lex just said a few times. I think in the last 2 days we've used the words they did good with what they had a few too many times. 10-minute matches just doesn't scream WrestleMania to me. And I know I was talking up that Cesaro match yesterday, saying how much I loved it. Obviously, a lot of that has to do with how much of a fan of him I am. But that could have done even better with 5 more minutes. This match could have done a lot better with 5 more minutes. The U.S. title match could have done better with a few more minutes. I'm just very surprised at the time allotted to each match on both cards. Just feels like there's a lot of very short matches on this WrestleMania, which can be a good thing. But even the fact that they spaced it out on 2 nights, I thought that they would maybe give something like this and something like the match from night 1 a little bit more ample time. That being said, the match was good, but I was disappointed because I've clearly seen better from them before. But it was easily the best thing I had seen up to that point, so I was happy up to that point. And then obviously the crowd was begging for the stunner on Logan Paul, and they gave it, which was kind of the point of the whole thing. So they did their job, but I think I would have liked to see a little bit more time in some of these matches throughout the whole weekend.
I think it's a fair point.
I know we've hit the nail on the head on that like a lot already, but
yeah. It's and I think it's definitely a point to look at over the next 2 nights, because I mean, like, the purpose of the 2 nights was for people to pay attention and not lose focus compared to the 7-hour shows, especially if you're live. And the time slots is interesting, mind you. They still went 4 hours ish.
A bit less, but there was a lot
4 hours with the pre-show, yeah.
Yeah,
there's too much filler on Mania for me, though. Like, the promo package is so long, the entrance is now like so long for everybody, and I know it's part of the show, but I still want to see some wrestling. Like, I've come here to still watch some wrestling.
I think that's the biggest point, is like the pacing and the flow and I think the promo packages, especially because I mean, you look at classics like, let's say I'm gonna go back to everybody's favorite WrestleMania 17. If you look back at that WrestleMania, and there are not a lot of like long promos or long build-ups. It's just like, the small, like a tiny backstage interview, and then the next entrance is already playing, and their next competitor is already walking out to the ring, which works out, and they still got all that. And look at how much time they had for each of those matches, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's sort of just a WWE thing. It's we were shocked, in recent years when they started saying the word wrestling more, because, for a long time, we're not wrestling, we're sports entertainment and everything. And obviously they're going to prioritize the entertainment, the spectacle aspect over the actual wrestling a lot of the time,
Which they should. Don't get me wrong. I mean, which they should, because again, as a fan attending, one of your thoughts is, who is going to dazzle in their entrance on the big stage? Who is going to have like the entrance to remember the night? And let's face it, you as a fan, even watching this on your couch, you're going, who's going to have a good Mania entrance? Who's going to stand out? What is Triple H going to do this year? What is John Cena going to do this year, right? Or what's Charlotte or Edge or Roman? The list goes on, right? Those who've had a history of Mania.
I feel just, sorry, Jose, cutting you off. I feel like the big promo packages and these big entrances should be reserved for the big title matches and the big feuds. So when you have a 5-minute promo package, which is fine if it is the main event, like when it is if it's Roman, Daniel Bryan, and Edge, that deserves a 4 or 5 minute video package. I don't need a 5-minute video package for Apollo Crews versus Big E. As fine as it's been, I don't need a 5-minute video package there, and I don't think the crowd cares about having a 5-minute video package for that feud either. And then throwing the entrances, the entrances for those matches lasted longer than the match when you put it in a perspective. Yeah. So that's when I think the flow is disrupted, when you're putting too much behind it for other points in the show and other things to do, and then you don't allot that time. And to be fair, if this had gone if this show's 20 minutes longer, would you have cared that much? I know it's like, if it's another hour on top, that's a lot. But if you gave an extra 5 minutes to Kevin Owens, you gave an extra 5 minutes to Sheamus, Riddle, 5 minutes to Apollo Crews, Big E, etc., if you gave an extra 5 minutes to all those matches, would you notice it finishing 15 minutes later?
To be honest, no, because there's a second night of wrestling.
Yeah.
Like at this point, WrestleMania could have gone the 5 hours on second night, which actually I don't know if I want to say that,
It's a bit
but
too long.
I'm committed to it already. Like the point is, like if it went longer, then you know what? Okay, because I still got a second night, and I'm still refreshed. The fact that I'm starting another show awake and alive and well, right? So I don't think I would have been bugged by it because again, that second night is so key now. Moving forward, and of course, the rumors are saying that Dallas is going to aim for the one night again, which means it's going to be like, means it's going to be another long one. But
they got to fill the stands.
I think the crowd also would appreciate it though if you gave them an extra. If you gave Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Cesaro Rollins an extra 5 minutes each,
right?
The crowd will probably appreciate having seen a classic.
The only thing that I think WWE would be worried about, and it makes sense, is will they fill the seats for both nights, like RJ said, right? Well, like, would you as somebody who lived in Dallas, people in Dallas are probably saying, "Oh, I'll go to night one, but I don't want to go to night two. Let me see what both cards offer. I don't like that. Okay, let me go choose this one instead, right?" Which is a huge loss to WWE in hindsight compared to with the stadium of 100K. It's very plausible, very plausible.
I think you'd sell it out.
And you have to think about.
You think you could sell out both nights?
Yeah.
In Dallas for post COVID, maybe because that arena's humongous.
And there are a lot of international fans that are waving to go back.
That's the other thing. If fans are going to fly from a different country to go to this, they're going to want to go to both nights.
Oh yeah. If I was going to Dallas next year, hell yeah. If I dragged RJ, I'd be like, RJ, you're not picking one night, you're taking two. We're going to both. You do not fly and go to one.
Spectacle aside, I think what they have to do if they're worried about filling both nights is just give us some great storylines, some great matches. Give people a reason to go. That's really all it comes down to.
Yeah.
What have you said about entrances and video packages? That stuff's just part of WrestleMania. But when you're taking time away for things like the Bella Twins coming out and beating up Bailey,
I have that in my notes. I'm going to get to that.
We'll get to that one.
Yeah. So let's go to the next match now.
We could also take 30 minutes away from Natalya and Tamina.
Yeah, 30 minutes. Yeah.
Wait, their match should be negative 15.
As soon as the entrance hits,
15 minutes on both tag team women's matches. It's 30 minutes for the whole weekend. Tamina and
what's next? What's next?
Yeah, we do have to move on. We do have to move on because this is what that was a great discussion, a great off-topic discussion. But
throw them on the pre-show. Good.
Do a pre-show. They didn't do a pre-show this time.
Lex brought up earlier. I think it was Lex that brought up, how Kevin Owens had the big face moment, stunning Logan and getting everybody going crazy. I think the biggest face moment of the night. Was seeing Sheamus become United States champion.
Conquer that villain, Matt Riddle.
Took care of the big bad heel of Matt Riddle. And let's launch the confetti cannons up on the screen here. Get the confetti going. Sheamus is your new United States champion. What a time to be alive in 2021. One of the top 10 WrestleMania moments of all time, ladies and gentlemen. Sheamus becoming your United States.
Like Matt Riddle.
Because of again, special moment. All kidding aside, as a Matt Riddle hater, I will be the first to say that he did have a great match. It was a solid match with Sheamus. I liked it. They left it all out in the ring. I thought it was impressive. They both gave it their all. Sheamus's kick to Riddle looked gnarly as heck, which got him bleeding, which was beautiful. Thank you, Sheamus. But seriously, it was a great match all around at the end of the day. I would probably say it's better than Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I think, like I said, it got better and better as the night went on, which is a good thing. So I have no complaints from this match. Just incredible athleticism from both. And again, I can see Riddle's athleticism. I'm not blind to it. I know it's there. But again, my problem is I can't take it seriously or can't take any of his in-ring seriously with the character that he has. If he was just a more serious character who just kind of like the traditional UFC fighter persona that we get when the crossover happens, I think he would be significantly better. I really, really do mean that, and I would like to see him better. But with this character, I know I'm not the only one. I've seen a lot of people on social media shit on the character. And again, if you just flip the character, give him a more serious outlook, I think it would be 10 times better. RJ.
Maybe WWE just has a huge podhead following. And they're like, they love this guy. We need to push him.
Yeah, they trip out whenever they see the birds flying at them on the screen.
Overall, though, I don't hate Matt Riddle, so that's aside from the point. Sheamus has been on fire lately. He's put on a lot of really, really good matches, especially on Raw with Drew. This was my second favorite match of the night. I really, really enjoyed it. The finish was really good. I thought it was very athletic. I thought it was hard hitting. I thought it was pretty fast paced. I really liked this. I liked the match a lot. Not a whole lot more I can say about it because I don't hate Matt Riddle, so I'm not that I'm not that excited about him losing the title as Jose was, but I'm happy to see Sheamus get hopefully a really strong reign with that title because, he's got a good pedigree to him too. So he's got a lot of history behind him himself. He's a former champion. He can hopefully, bring a little bit of prestige to that title. I mean, not that they do that with the mid-card belts anyway, but I like seeing a big name hold those mid-card belts. So I'm hoping Sheamus can have a nice run with it.
Lex.
I mean, if you want an example of someone who character-wise Matt Riddle should, model himself off of to, be less obnoxious and annoying to the fan base, look at the guy he was hanging out with backstage before the match, Rob Van Dam. Yeah, Great Gully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the rolling papers. I forgot about the RVD branded rolling papers.
His brand of rolling paper. So we're having just straight up marijuana jokes on WrestleMania. Wow, what a world we're living in. But people loved Rob Van Dam because he was chill.
Yeah.
People knew he was a pot smoker, but he wasn't acting like this. He was a cool, great athlete. Great, background and everything. But he had that chill, cool demeanor that people related to. And I think if Matt Riddle channeled more of that and less of what the WWE brand of comedy, like forgetting his lines backstage with Asuka and Vince loving it and keeping it on TV, it would be a lot better character. But here we are. So we have him coming out on his little scooter and doves with eye patches and hats on them flying out. I don't know why they didn't go with parrots. It's Pirate WrestleMania. You should have gone with parrots. But
true. Yeah.
But when he gets in the ring, of course he can rock it, and he did tonight. He and Sheamus have had some great matches. Sheamus himself has had some great matches on Raw and everything, and this is another great one. And they brought it all out. It was hard hitting. They were battering each other, and the finish where Matt went for the moonsault, and now, ever since Adam Cole and Ricochet, we've been seeing more and more moves like that. When it's one thing to hit a move when the guy's coming off the top rope, but when he's upside down coming off the top rope, and then you hit the move, that's crazy. And we saw what happened there. His mouth was busted. It definitely, I'm sure it was not fun to take, but it was a great match, great ending, and Sheamus with the U.S. title once again. It's I think he's definitely earned it. For what we've heard, apparently the plan originally before whatever else happened was for Keith Lee to hold the U.S. title. So I look forward to a Keith Lee and Sheamus feud down the line, which I'm sure could be in our future. Yeah. But good job. Both guys worked really hard. And for a match that didn't have a lot of, storyline or build or excitement towards it, they knocked it out of the park. So good on them.
I forgot about Keith Lee. That's not a good thing.
I know.
Yeah, just to elaborate on Lex's point there, Matt Riddle was never meant to win the belt, apparently, according to the reports. It was meant to be Keith Lee.
Really?
Took the belt off Bobby Lashley. But unfortunately, he got taken off TV for whatever reason it is. We don't know. And then they basically went, oh, God, we can't put it on John Morrison because he's doing the stuff with Bad Bunny. We'll put it on Riddle because they needed it off Lashley so they could move Lashley into the world title scene.
Right.
So they just panicked, basically put it on a Riddle, and this is their reason to get it off him, I guess. Yeah. Like, in terms of the match, this was fun, but for me, it felt like a lot of what Sheamus has just been doing on Raw week in, week out,
which is fine.
With a better finish.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel any much more of a Mania match than it did felt like Sheamus's Raw matches to me. And I just, unfortunately, wasn't invested. And I think it's just the lack of build meant I wasn't invested. But the match itself was good. But yeah, I don't know. And as RJ said, the perfect way to build up a solid mid-card champion is to not have him appear on the show the following night. It's really...
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was, probably, as I said, probably the second best match on the show, but I don't know.
Who's counting?
That's kind of more saying about the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Didn't quite click for me. It's a good match, just wasn't interested enough.
So on that point, I think it's safe that we move on from that because I don't think there's much else to say. Instead, we get to talk about the really, really special Nigerian drum fight. Biggie Apollo Crews. Apollo is your new Intercontinental Champion. The losing streak of live performances at a WrestleMania superstar continued. Condolences to Big E. Wale lip synced the heck out of that song. Great lip syncing there, buddy. Yeah, did good.
It wasn't all lip syncing.
Yeah, did good, Sunshine. He started off with the lip sync. Yeah, it was
maybe he did.
And then I mean, you wondered what was around, and it was just funny to see what was happening around. Kendo 6, which were greatly associated with Nigeria. The djembes, the gongs, the use of the steel steps was interesting. The gong was hilarious to see that being thrown across. I was really hoping for the djembe to really come into play, and it didn't, unfortunately. The actual drum in the match didn't. It made no sense at all. 6 minutes and 50 seconds was how long this match lasted. The shortest, no, not the shortest, second shortest match of night 2, and of course it all ended as soon as Big Boy Dabakato or Babakato, sorry, or Babatunde is another name for him, interfered in a big general admiral suit, took care of Big E, Apollo's new champion, who got a pyro show after it all.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we did not even give that to Sheamus. We didn't give it to Sheamus. We didn't give it to the Bad Bunny, for example. We didn't even give it to Bobby, who retained it. Just Apollo wins, let's cue the pyro. I'm like, oh, I guess they had pyro to burn after they didn't use it the first night because of the opening was delayed. Is my only reasoning as to why Apollo got pyro, but not that I'm making a big fuss out of it. It's just a keen observation by yours truly. Pete?
This was absurdly short for a title match for starting point. But I'm surprised they actually had these two matches back to back in terms of the US title and the IC title on the same night of back to back.
Oh yeah,
just seems really odd in that one. And as you already mentioned, how do you have a Nigerian drum fight and not use a single fucking drum in the whole match? Not one, not even thrown into the drums. Like, come on now. Like, you decoration to match that. And you just had it as scenery. It's like having an Inferno match and nobody getting burnt.
I will say I actually love the spot where Apollo and Biggie picked up the candlesticks. Okay, let's go. They started smacking each other like little kids do with balloons, right? Like just smack each other to see who caves. I thought that was funny. I'm like, oh, they're going off again. Again, Kendo 6 represent Nigeria to a T. Anything else, Pete?
The stuff in the match was fun for the most part, but obviously ridiculously short. Don't like the ending, and the main reason I don't like the ending is because commentary treat us like fucking idiots. When you have this guy come out and go, "Who the hell is that? We've never seen this guy before. Who is it?" And I know not everybody will, but people like me go, "Well, look, it's obviously Dabakato. He looks exactly the same as he did 6 months ago when we saw him week in, week out on Raw. You literally drafted him on the draft night. We know who this guy is. Don't treat me like that." And again, it's a bit of another slap to the face of the crowd. It's kind of an underwhelming shock appearance. It's like, who? Oh, it's Dabakato. Cool. Okay, I guess. And I kind of feel sorry for Big E as well, because Big E being 0-7 at Mania is just kind of heartbreaking. At Mania? Yeah, if you including Battle Royals, to be fair. But.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot. I tweeted out, "Who the hell is that guy?" And then I got some responses. Hey, it's this guy. And he knows, and like he also got that little bit of Twitter shade when somebody else likes to reply to your tweet and doesn't even reply to you. I'm like, thanks, buddy. All right, we get how you feel, jerk. Go enjoy your little plot, Lex.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed this match just fine. I thought Wale and Big E had a nice entrance. You know, I thought it was one of the better. As far as the two musical entrances of the night went, it was definitely the better one. But it's cool for E to get this big spot and everything, and questionable storyline aside, with the racial overtones of everything. I've been glad to see Big E get to fire up and be like a serious babyface, and Apollo get to be more of an arrogant heel. I think it's helped them both a lot. And I'm glad they were able to have this spot, even though it was a pretty short match. I was disappointed to see Apollo not try and spear him with his freaking actual spear
Right.
in the match. You
That's
have
the
that
rant.
thing, you may as well use it.
After the rant that Pete went on last week about throwing the damn thing.
I am devastated that never happened.
But no, yeah, like it was basically a street fight match with a cute name. So, but there were some brutal looking spots in there, Big E slamming Apollo on the steps off the apron and Apollo doing the frog splash through the table and everything. And they worked hard. They definitely worked hard for their first, big Mania singles match. But it did go short, but I was entertained by it. And I've been a fan of, I'm probably more of a fan or more, I guess, aware of Dabba-Kato / Babatunde than most people, because I actually saw him wrestle live at an Evolve show, and like he's a big guy. Like he could definitely be something if he can if he can get the in-ring side of it. But like, so I'm curious to see Apollo basically having his own Omos now, and Dabba-Kato is actually ethnically half Nigerian, so there's that. So I'm curious to see where this partnership goes. They could definitely do something with him. I'll take this over him being on Raw Underground or doing nothing. So
Yeah,
I'll give it a chance. But if this means Big E's going to start getting pushed towards perhaps challenging Roman down the line, then I'm cool with that. But it could have gone longer, but I was entertained by it, so I can't really complain.
RJ.
Yeah, my only real problems with this match are the length of it and the finish and the fact that it was basically just a street fight with a cute name, like Lex just said. They should have just at least used the weapons that were basically surrounding instead of using tables and stairs and candlesticks. But nonetheless, the stuff that they actually did was totally fine for the 5 or 6 minutes that they wrestled for. Just as I've already said, just surprised at how short it was. The ending wasn't very good, or I guess I wouldn't say it's very good. Like Pete said, it sucked. But it seems like they are trying with Apollo for the first time in a while. Like they really are trying with Apollo. I think they are trying to make him seem like he's a big deal. Or maybe this is truly a Dabba-Kato push disguised as a Apollo Crews title reign. Not sure. We'll see in the future what happens on SmackDown and such. But I like Apollo. I think that he's got a lot of talent. I'm happy that they're trying something with him. I'm obviously still iffy on the gimmick, but I'm happy that they're doing something with him. I'm very surprised to see Big E lose the title so fast, however. But if they're going to hotshot him into a main event feud, I'm not positive I'm ready for that from him yet myself, but I love Big E, so I'll probably accept it.
This is only Apollo Crews' second singles title reign, or just second title with the company so far. He won the United States title first, and now he's IC champion. So we move on from that, and we move on to the. I will say, kind of to Pete's point, in terms of like the back-to-back, in terms of the titles itself, night 2 ended with 4 straight title matches, which is like whoa! I didn't realize until I took a good look at the card here.
They could have spaced it out a little better.
I'm sorry.
They could have divided out the nights a little bit.
I agree. I think they definitely could have. We go on to the Raw Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley, Asuka, the defending champion. Let's talk about it. Ash Costello and from her rock band New Year's Day played "This Is My Brutality," Rhea's theme song. It was brutality. Everybody's brutality. It did not sound anything like the studio version that we hear that Rhea walks out to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that was. Bless her soul for having for both of them, for Rhea and for Ash, for having a Mania moment. I don't know if there's anything else I want to add on to that other than I think that may have been the worst WrestleMania performance of all time.
I don't think so. It's not one of the. It's up there, but it's not one of the worst of all time.
Okay, fine. Yeah, if it's not that, then it's probably the DX Band performing the Star Spangled Banner in their version of the Star Spangled Banner WrestleMania 14. But Rhea did break the streak of live performances in a loss at WrestleMania. She got the win. She is the new Raw Women's Champion. A nice, fun little match there. For something that was thrown together in the last 2 weeks, it was solid. It just amazes me that the following night on Monday Night Raw, it was the complete opposite of what they had at WrestleMania, which we're not even going to talk about because this is WrestleMania. Great match. I liked it. I'm happy for Rhea. You can tell that it probably would have went to Charlotte, especially with what happened the following night on Raw, I think, because Charlotte had a big mess with medical issues. But as for Rhea, I'm happy to see Rhea in this spot. She got her big moment. Last year was really, really rough for her, like I said last week, with the NXT titles. So she gets this. Yippee-ki-yay. I'm happy for Rhea. And I just thought it was a great match. I'm not, I mainly because it's tough to keep up with everything, but from what I remember, it was a solid match. Lex.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably one of the bigger Rhea Ripley fans of our group, at least. But I've been a huge fan of hers. I thought she was a fantastic heel in NXT UK. I wanted to see her lose and everything. I thought she was really good at it. And then she comes to NXT. She becomes the biggest star of their vast women's division, and then goes to WrestleMania and immediately just goes back down to the bottom. So that was rough to see. But I was as much as I like Asuka, I was really hoping for a Rhea victory here, and I was happy to see it. As much as I like Asuka, this whole title reign has not been the best for her. She's had after that, like when this summer ended, she's had very few actual challengers, and when she's had that challenger, something's gone wrong. So it's been a long reign for Asuka, but she hasn't really gotten to be a very strong champion. Despite having a long title reign. So I thought, Rhea definitely has to win this one, and she definitely did. She did, so I was happy to see that. It was a good back and forth match. I don't know what kind of miscommunication there was on Raw, but they had a good match tonight, and I was happy to see Rhea win. It did kind of feel like the match didn't really pick up into that next gear quite throughout. It did feel kind of like it got a little bit cut short near the end. But I was hoping for Rhea to win, and she did, so I can't be too disappointed. And I really hope this is the beginning of something great for her, because she's a future, big star, and I really hope to see her get something, get a good run out of this, or at least a good, if not title reign, just good run on TV.
RJ.
Yeah, I don't think the match was great, but I think it was good. I think it was fine. I don't think it compared really to the women's title match from night one, obviously.
Oh no,
that was very much so big match to follow. But I thought it was fine. I obviously love Asuka and was hoping to see a win out of her just because I'm a fan of her, and I thought that she could really use a big win herself. But obviously Rhea, as a new star, she's got a lot of potential. She's got the look. She can I haven't seen a lot of her promos, but it seems like she can talk at least a little bit right now. She's very solid in the ring, and as I said, the look is very great for her as well. So I think she's got a lot of potential. She wasn't going to lose 2 WrestleManias in a row, which is why I was very upset afterwards that I chose Asuka, because as this match was going on, I was thinking, why the hell did I pick Asuka? Rhea's not losing again, and I'm losing a chance at becoming champion here. So I'm very disappointed in myself for these next 2 matches on who I picked, but it's okay. I guess it looks like they're going to be shoehorning Charlotte into this feud, which is what they do, but that's that. We're not talking about that. So
it's funny because you bring up you should have picked Asuka. Normally, what I've been seeing, and the little trend that I've been seeing, is as soon as Pete says something, you realize that it sounds really good. I've noticed that a lot, which is a good thing because you guys agree on a lot.
What's that supposed to mean? I have a mind of my own.
It's the accent. Makes it sound smarter than he is.
What he's actually saying is, I'm an amazing fantasy booker of WWE. So when I come out with a suggestion, everyone goes, "That sounds fantastic. Maybe that'll happen," and then they forget I'm not booking WWE.
Show me the card. How many of the same do me and Pete have?
Everything except the main event.
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Genuinely everything except the main event.
It's like that episode of American Dad. Your accent just makes you really trustworthy sounding.
Pete closes out on the.
What if Pete copies me?
Honestly, I would say. Honestly, I think this match is massively underwhelming, and I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan. I'm a huge Asuka fan. I was hoping for something great here, and I think it was okay to good. Like, it was probably like a 3-star match in my eyes. It's not like a bad match or anything. It was still a good match. I just think with a fairly sloppy build and what was going for it to be Rhea's crowning moment, it needed to be amazing, and it wasn't amazing. So I was kind of a little bit down, and I feel really sorry for Asuka, because you say Rhea shouldn't lose 2 matches in a row. Asuka's lost 4 now. Undefeated streak, Asuka. 500 days without losing a match, etc. 500 days as NXT champion is 0-4 at WrestleMania. So... so yeah, I feel sorry for Asuka in the end of this.
That horse has left the barn, sadly.
What?
That horse has left the barn, sadly.
Yeah.
But it didn't have to.
No,
And honestly, you say Rhea's the right choice. I'm not sure at the end of it. Like, especially after seeing what happened on Raw, and And also, one other thing, I'm a massive Rhea fan. I think she's great in the ring. Love her on the promo. I really wish she'd get a new finisher. I really don't like the Riptide. I think it looks like such a weak slam finisher. In terms of when you compare it to other finishers nowadays, I think it is maybe one of the least intimidating looking moves, especially when her submission that she does.
Yeah, I was gonna say the prison trap thing. That's way better. She's really as a finisher. Yeah.
Honestly, I think there's a lot of wrestlers in WWE that have very underwhelming looking finishers, like very unimpactful looking finishers, and Riptide is definitely one of them. She doesn't even get her that high in the air.
That's what I mean. It goes like waist height. It's like a sidewalk slam.
It's like a weak pump handle slam. Yeah, it's like a sidewalk slam. Yeah.
It reminds me when Bailey was getting rapid questions. She was getting like a rapid fire question. Which finisher do you think is the worst one in WWE? Mine. I'm like, okay, all right, Bailey. That says it all.
Yeah. It was one of them.
So on that note, I think it's safe to say, because I think we need to get to the biggest talking point of the whole night. It is the Universal Championship, the Universal Triple Threat.
I thought you meant the Bellas beating up Bailey.
Oh, right. You know what? Fine, hold on. Let's get rid of that graphic. Get that graphic out of there for a second. Let's talk about that. Yeah, hold on a minute. Thank you.
We need to talk about this?
Now more editing for you.
No. I just want to get something really, really clear. That was fucking pathetic. Oh my God. Now, what I was saying up until that point, in the group chat, I didn't mention it to RJ. There was no big WrestleMania surprise, not a drastic big one up until that point. You would think with the fans returning, I know maybe for pandemic reasons, it probably, I don't know what the hell it was, but there was no big holy shit moment, like music moment hit, like Stone Cold at WrestleMania 32. I forgot other ones, but the point is,
the Hardys.
Right, thank you. Oh my goodness, I'm what kind of a WrestleMania fan? Hardys, John Cena at WrestleMania 35. You had Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 35.
Taker at 34.
Taker at 34. Although he was expected. The point is, you normally have this really.
He wasn't. It was like when John Cena sat in the front row type thing.
Right. Normally, you have those big moments. Bailey comes out. I'm like, okay, this is the big WrestleMania surprise. I think on behalf of all of us, we were expecting Becky. We were probably expecting Becky, and it out comes out those fucking twins. Oh my God almighty. Bailey stole the show when they said that John Cena wasn't here. I'm like, thank you.
That was good.
Thank you very much for just stating the obvious that like you guys ran him with him. I don't know.
Even in retirement, the Bellas find a way to insert themselves over everybody else.
Oh my God, it was just so bad.
What a troll by WWE, though.
Sure.
Like, they knew.
I mean, how could they not? Yeah. And the crap, and like you can't even make the argument that the fans were into it or the fans liked it. Like they were booing like hard.
Hello.
They were booing
You're making your debut on the pod. Hello.
That's it. It's the biggest example of WWE being
Did she like the Bellas?
No, she hasn't.
Okay, thank God. Right,
thank God.
That's three.
It's the biggest example of WWE being out of touch with what the fans want.
As a person.
They hate, like, in terms of, I think they basically just formed the newest heel stable of just Hulk Hogan, Titus O'Neil, and the Bella Twins. Because they were getting booed. Like, the Bellas represent the WWE era of women that everybody wants to forget and put behind them. They are the prime example of that era.
Yeah.
And you put them over one of the big prime examples of the new era of women's wrestling, of one of the four horsewomen. And you went, yeah, that's what the fans want to see. No, fuck right off. And the best thing about this is when I was like scrolling Twitter around this point, and just before this happened, Brian Alvarez put out a tweet saying, I've heard from WWE, they've got a big, huge moment planned right now to excite the crowd. He put out something genuinely like that. There's a big moment coming that's going to be huge for the crowd. And then at that point, everyone's like, it's going to be Becky. It's got to be Becky. It's got to be Becky. Oh,
it could even be Ronda. I would have. It could have even.
Yeah. Oh my God, Ronda would have been nuts.
Anyone but the Bellas.
Anyone but the fucking Bellas.
I mean, again, it's like, look, sure, congratulations on your Hall of Fame moment. I don't think anybody's going to take away that moment from the Bellas.
I'll take it from her.
Okay, great, thank you. But it just. Again, like Pete said, they're from an era that nobody wants to remember. And I hate it when they say that they were the pioneers of the women's revolution. Fuck.
Who says that?
They do.
Yeah.
A lot of the
Yeah,
women.
they said when they talk about like women who paved the way, they do bring up.
I mean, I guess they paved the way. They paved the way very shittily, but they
were around. They were so bad they realized they needed change. That's how they paved the way.
Paige, Emma,
I mean,
AJ Lee was a part of that era.
It's like that line from Thor 3 when freaking Jeff Goldblum's like, you can't have a revolution without a leader to overthrow. So, pat on the back for everyone.
Yeah. Can we also appreciate the crowd that they booed Hogan all of the both?
Oh yeah, every time he
They
spoke, Titus spoke. It was the boo, like when you're punching each other. When Titus spoke, they cheered. When Hogan spoke, they booed.
Again, like what I said with RJ a couple weeks ago, like I Mania 35, he did get a big pop. I popped because I'm like, holy crap, it's Hogan. There was a lot of nostalgia within me. First WrestleMania in person.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I wanted to go was because of Rock Hogan, and there is one half of the reason why I wanted to go in the first place. So I popped. But it amazes me that in like 2 years later, it just people did not care anymore. And good, they give me good rest.
Well, it's because everybody saw through the presentation of putting him with Titus. Like everyone saw through
that
it.
too.
Like,
That
people just they weren't buying it. They could buy Hogan showing up as a surprise to pop the crowd at 35, but there was no way they could possibly buy this.
So in conclusion, this has to be again one of the top 10 worst WrestleMania moments of all time. It's a damn shame. I was really hoping for Becky, and Becky teased the hell out of everybody on Instagram with the whole Night One acronym, and I'm like, "Where's Becky?" I think even people said there were a lot of spoilers from Dershi saying heads up, massive spoiler coming in, and I never read them, but I presume they said Becky. So it is what it is. It's a damn shame. Thank you for bringing that up, Peter, and reminding me that.
Well, supposedly she was planning to come in on a truck. That was the big spoiler because I went back to see what it was. And it's like, oh, they prepped Becky Lynch's truck and she's going to come in like riding in on a truck to interrupt something. That was like the spoiler that was online. Whether or not, obviously, that was a plan or not, but by the sounds of it, they changed their mind because things got leaked. That's at least the report that's coming out from people like Meltzer and Alvarez, said they changed their mind on bringing Becky in because and they didn't think it would get as big of a shock surprise as they would have wanted. So it's like, it still would have got a huge pop.
You still would have.
Yeah.
I mean, as somebody who. I'm not gonna be like a lot of fans like, oh my god, please bring back Becky. It's time to bring Becky back. I'm like, maybe she wants to spend time with her kid before putting in her entertainment first. Sure, food on the table, but come on, guys, it's a freaking kid. Yeah. Anyways, point is, it is what it is. Thank you, Pete, for allowing us and reminding us to admit that how fucking ridiculous it was. And now we can bring back the graphic for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns, Edge, Daniel Bryan, Edge with the massive pyro show, which I loved. I was freaking out on the inside. Like, it's another WrestleMania worthy entrance of Edge. I loved every minute of it. Everybody was great. I told our group chat with Lex and Pete, I said that I think this was the first time when I closed a WrestleMania in sadness because my God, I wanted that for Edge. I jumped out on my couch and I was screaming, I'm like, cover him. And I thought he got the 3 with the big spear moment before the double concertos. I'm like, this is it. He's gonna get his moment, and he didn't. And then and then fucking Jey Uso was like the one time I don't think I wanted to see Jey. I'm like, if you're gonna have Roman do this, just do it cleanly. I know the match isn't clean enough, but just have it do it on his own. He was already taken out of the equation with the big moment with the steps. I'm like, just get him out. I hated that he came back and it just came over, and I'm like, fuck. I was crushed. I really, really wanted that moment for Edge. I mean, booking wise, it probably makes sense. I mean, the fans just were not on Roman's side, which again is technically with the character that he's with. It's finally the reaction they got for Roman. It worked. I actually didn't think that Roman was going to get booed. I thought he was going to get cheered for the character that he's in today. I'm like, okay, you're booing him. This is what they want. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, fuck, this is what Vince wants.
He got the right.
You're letting him win.
You're letting him win. He got the right reaction. Shit, there's a cover. Hooks.
He succeeded.
On top too. Crap. I was just miserable. I was miserable. I didn't. I told one of our friends, a good old Devlin, who was like, suck it. And I told him to fuck off because I was just so upset. I'm like, I was that sad. I mean, like the Toronto boy. I'm like, I'm happy to see him back. The story was there. The story for Edge was there. And it just, at the end of the day, it is what it is. We'll see what happens this week on SmackDown. In terms of the match itself, I need to get that out of the way. Incredible. Obviously, the best match of night 2. It delivered. It was a great mess of all over the place. A lot of great, Edge at receipt moments. No pun intended. Again, Edge with that big moment. The double crossface with the pipe from the chair was brilliant. I'm like, oh, that actually looks painful. And then I wondered if he taps, if he had the balls to tap there, who gets the win?
Neither, I don't think.
Neither. They'd restart it.
Yeah.
They've done shit like that before.
Yeah,
I remember
Whereas
when
it meant it eliminated Roman and he went into a singles match between Bryan and Edge.
Yeah.
I remember.
Cool.
I remember. I don't know why I remember. I couldn't even tell you what pay-per-view it was at, but when I was younger, Jericho, Benoit, and Austin all fought in a triple threat, and they got the crossface and the walls on Austin at the same time, and he tapped, and neither of them won. Neither of them won. I vividly remember, for whatever reason, it might have been Judgment Day.
Sounds like a vengeance.
Vengeance is possible.
Sounds like a vengeance thing.
I think it was an Armageddon or a Judgment Day, though.
Oh.
I don't know. Sorry for bringing this up. Now we have to
no,
look
it's
it
good.
up. Look it up.
That's a good point.
It's a good example. King of the Ring.
Ring.
King of the Ring.
King of the Ring.
2001.
Okay. Well, I'm wrong.
Vengeance. Vengeance. But, but yeah, I mean, yeah, like it was like that was a great spot. Again, Daniel Bryan got his big moments. Edge got his big moments. Roman, everybody equally got their moment to get the crowd going, negatively or positively. A solid, great match all around. I guess a proper ending to close out the weekend. But again, as from the bias perspective, I was crushed. I'm like, oh god, I wanted. I don't even know if it happens now for him, but. It just at the end of the day just felt so good to see the music blast in a stadium with fans and the big pyro show. I'm like, this is the fucking Edge that I love. I'm like, it just felt right. RJ.
I know some people that definitely did not like the ending. Like
I know people
I definitely got some friends who were not happy with the ending at all.
Mhm.
I never really asked them to elaborate on it, so I'm not really positive why. But I just know some people that didn't like it. I mean, Edge fans probably just wanted him to win, like Jose, probably just got it by it. But overall, this match, I know yesterday I said I was super high on the Cesaro and Rollins match, but in hindsight, looking back, this match was as good or better than that match. This match had me pretty much on my edge of my seat the entire time. I actually am fine with the inclusion of Jey Uso. I thought it made some sense in the time. I thought that the interference was actually really well timed. I didn't see it coming, and just in the moment, it allowed Roman to get a very, very, very strong victory over him. That if Roman just kind of did that without the help of Jey and he got those concertos, he would have looked really, really, really strong, but it might have been almost too strong. I'm happy with Jey Uso getting involved because it's kind of just what he's been doing, and we're not supposed to like it, and fuck Roman. So that's that. But the match was really good. I'm very disappointed I didn't take Roman in this one because after he won, I was like, of course he won. Of course he won. Like just deep in my heart, I was like, of course he won. He was always going to win. But I was very happy with this match. That spot was really good. They did the table spot outside. I was expecting to see Jey again because I thought that the DDT on the stairs was way too much for him to stay down for as long as he did. That happened at the very beginning of the match, and he stayed down the whole time. And there was some other very big spots from the actual competitors in the match that they were able to get up from. So I was thinking we might see Jey again, even though he got taken out. But overall, I thought the match was just brilliant. The double submission spot with the bar was just so cool, and it was just an overall really, really, really good match. I can't even remember every spot off the top of my head. I know I'm missing stuff, but yeah, it was a blast.
Of course, I didn't even bring up the ending itself because I was just sitting in my pool of tears here. After the concerto to Edge, after the concerto to Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns put Edge on Daniel Bryan, cover them both, and then got the 3 count. Which of course now, Adam Pearce on Twitter was saying, that's really weird. And fucking Charles Robinson, Little Nate, my decision is final. All 4 shoulders were on the mat. I am not reversing a decision. And then freaking.
Well, he's also freaking.
He's right though.
He's right. No, I know he's right. But then fucking like Adam Pearce replies, why am I getting worked up on Twitter?
Yeah.
Replies on Twitter and
We're all getting worked, man.
Come to my office. Oh, great. We'll see what happens on SmackDown. I'm like, oh crap. Like again, like it just. Bitter.
No, but now you've got to watch SmackDown to see what happens.
Yeah, I know I do. But like, and again, like to RJ's point, I mean, even like some of my other friends, that don't want WWE does much anymore. They were also saying the same thing. They're like, I'm not sure, I'm not positive about that finish. And even though I was saying too, I'm like, when I saw that pin, I'm like, yeah, sure, four shoulders and a mat. But I'm looking at that and I'm going, they're gonna fucking use it to bring it up at the next pay-per-view or something. So
I don't think they should.
I don't.
I don't think
they should leave it the way it is. Roman
I agree.
Did what he said he was gonna do. I pin both of you. I am the shit. I am the king of the table. I beat you both.
And
And neither of you are getting another chance.
And here comes Matt Riddle. No, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. No doubt about it. I'm not going to oppose it. Of course, there was that one fan in our group chat. But like I said, that's a big Roman fan. He was like going crazy. He was trying to be very quiet because he knew that he was going to get backlash. He's like, "Oh, yay for Roman!" I'm like, "Shut up." Lex, he's a good kid though.
No.
He's a good kid. He's a good kid.
Like, it's interesting because the more you think about it, like, everyone has always thought of Roman as, WWE's guy, their number one dude, he's the top guy in the company, but he never has had like a WrestleMania moment like this. Like this,
No.
is like 31,
sure.
Money in the Bank happened. 32, he lost. He won, but everyone booed. 33, he beat the Undertaker, but that was
Nobody wanted it either.
Right. 34, he lost. And 35, he was fighting Drew to come back from leukemia. And 36, he couldn't make it because of COVID. So this is like Vince, despite everyone saying, "Oh, Vince loves Roman, Roman's like his guy, he's gonna push him." Like Vince has been very like weirdly like start and stop with Roman. He wins the belt and then loses it like not long after. It's been a very start and stop. Like Vince, for everyone who says that Roman's Vince's guy, Vince has had a weird amount of like cold feet with Roman. Like if you look back on how Roman's done like since day one. But like this felt like, okay, Roman Reigns is the guy. Roman Reigns is the number one guy in the company now. He just beat the Daniel Bryan and Edge at the same time, in the ring, pinned them both, stood strong at the end. There's no question now that Roman is WWE's number one guy. And I think, this, like I said, it was a great match, triple threat matches, the way WWE does them. I was happy to see that Jey Uso actually was involved from the very beginning, because the thing you often see with these matches, it's like when there's no rules, why don't the heel, if the heel has a second, on ringside, why don't they just get in there and do whatever they want because they can? And that's exactly what they did. Jey Uso did whatever he wanted. He ran wild for a while, and Edge had to take him out of the equation. So I thought that was great. And just, so many just great moments, great spots. Just the suspense was great. There was so much, I think there was a lot of anybody could win this. Nobody was sure who was going to win until it happened. Not. I think that's exactly what you need out of a WrestleMania main event. And then, in the end, all three guys did fantastic. We saw Bryan have to pull the referee out of the ring, an underhanded thing that he doesn't usually do. Roman and Edge spearing each other at the same time, like
that was a great spot.
Like that was awesome and also like really scary.
That looked painful as heck. Yeah, I felt like
easily just they could have easily just hit their heads together and just concussed themselves.
RJ, when we get to the golf course, this is that too.
It's always the golf course
into the bunker.
But no, yeah, awesome match. All three guys looked great, but at the end of the day, Roman is the guy they're going to go with finally, and he got his moment. He stood tall at the end, and just that it wasn't the happy ending everyone would have hoped for WrestleMania, but it was the ending that I think needed to happen, and we got it. And I look forward to seeing what Edge does now, what Bryan does now, because I want Roman to lose, but I want him to lose. Like in a singles match, clean in the middle, get beat by someone who was just better than him. And it wasn't going to happen in this match, unfortunately, with the triple threat rules. I think there can't be an asterisk at the end of the Roman lost. It has to be boom, he lost. Boom, some big babyface star beat him, and now they're the new top guy. Like that's what needs to happen. And I look forward to seeing it happen.
I guess the question is when. Now
that is the question. When? That's the $1 million question.
Hollywood. 2 years from now.
2 years. 2 years.
The Rock.
Who knows?
Oh, that'll piss
The Rock. Oh, Jesus.
I'm not even kidding, really. Like, I still think that's the natural ending. I still think the natural ending to is The Rock. And if Hollywood was this upcoming year instead of Texas, I could see that happening this next year at WrestleMania.
Well, instead, next year is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Got it.
That'd be great. No,
I would welcome it. Pete, your thoughts?
I would almost welcome it. Yeah.
Let's go to Pete.
Just first thing to say, like Roman Reigns isn't Vince McMahon's guy. He's the only person in history to appear in 4 consecutive WrestleMania main events.
Right, but he hasn't won.
He's won 3 out of 5. Like,
right, but not only one of them was for a title. Only one of them was for a title.
Like only Hogan and Triple H have appeared in more main events than WrestleMania.
But why has he been champion for like 5 years? If that was
the fans' reaction can't justify it. So Vince kept panicking as he had to because the reaction was
It's
so
like if you're gonna
negative.
push the guy, just commit to it.
And he kept trying. He kept trying, and every time he did it, it went wrong. And for once, for some reason, the internet wrestling community was actually right on something, and turning heel was the answer.
And to be
to solve the problem.
I think fans were ready at WrestleMania 34 because they just wanted to get rid of Brock. They're like, "Oh, but can we just get Brock out of the way?"
It was.
And
I didn't want him to win either.
No.
Yeah.
And then instead, Brock leaves New Orleans with that title, but
they also weren't though. Like it was one of those where it's like, oh yeah, put it on Roman, but we still don't want to see it, and you still get booed the next night. It was still that situation at 34. Like every time they've tried to do it, they got a bit of a babyface reaction. Obviously, after leukemia, as horrible as that sounds, he came back with a bit of a face reaction. Yeah. And then, but since he's turned heel, it's the first time fans have actually gone, yes, this guy's a big deal. You mentioned Dev there. I'm fairly sure Dev was one of the people who used to be like, Roman's terrible at wrestling. Why are we still watching Roman? Get Roman out of there.
Maybe, probably.
Like, that type of reaction was how it is. Now everyone goes, actually, this guy's great. And could you imagine going back to the end of WrestleMania 32, Roman versus Triple H 5 years ago, and telling the fans in that stadium that 5 years down the line, Daniel Bryan and Edge will have both come back out of retirement into the main event from these career-ending injuries. Roman is going to pin both of them simultaneously in the ring, and you're not going to hate the booking decision.
Yeah,
those fans would have screamed in your face if you told me.
Do you remember that one guy that was there, Chris? Like our Scottish Chris was there, and there's one guy who was like just losing his mind over the fact that Roman won.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
But in terms of the match, great, fantastic payoff to a fantastic build. I think the two main events were both excellent, and both definitely probably the best since 31 in terms of main events. I still think it's the right decision going forward and looking forward into future builds and future feuds. But after a really underwhelming night of a lot of heel wins, a lot of like down moments, a lot of crowds booing, I'm really surprised actually they sent the crowd home unhappy. In essence, the heel
yeah, exactly.
So I was surprised. The spots were great. I was actually thought they might have brought Jimmy Uso out instead of Jey Uso for the second. Like I was a little bit surprised it wasn't Jimmy in that spot, and I thought that would be a nice little.
Yeah, where's he been? It's been like a year.
Apparently, he's ready to return. Well, he obviously got a really bad injury, but apparently he was cleared about a month or so ago. So I thought this might have been him coming out where Jay came out the second time. But yeah, great match, brilliant match. Love the spots, love the stuff. It was justified. Daniel Bryan in there, I think he added to the match. The four shoulders were down. We've seen pins like that before. I really annoyed that people are trying to go, oh no, Edge won the match, he had him down. No,
it's
so
over.
many times. It's over. Like, he was on his back as well. It wasn't even like one of those where you rolled him over on his front on top and then pinned it. No,
honestly, I didn't even think to look for if both pairs of shoulders were down. Like I'm surprised they even thought to do that.
I was already crying, so I didn't care. Like I had no idea what the.
I like the fact they protected the concerto as well.
Yeah, like, Brian was dead, just dead.
Brian just died. Because it was another minute into the match before Brian basically got pinned. He just died from it. It was great.
He was not moving. Yeah.
So yeah, I like the fact they protected, and they didn't use a lot of finishes. There wasn't a lot of finishes and kickouts. I know Edge hit a couple of spears, and obviously we had the spot where the ref got pulled out the ring, which is great. But I think Roman only hit like one spear in this.
Yeah, one on Edge. Yeah.
Daniel Bryan didn't hit.
Never locked in the chokehold either.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan never hit the running knee.
He did it once.
We did once. He got the
one. He hit one on Edge, and Edge will
he went out, didn't he? Yeah. But like not for a near fall. This Mania had very few near falls in terms of when you think of like Mania matches and kickouts and everything. There wasn't a lot all the way down the card on both nights. There wasn't a lot of like near falls at all, especially kickouts. Like because even the ones in this match, it was generally they rolled out the ring or the ref got pulled out or. Jey Uso or something like that. It wasn't so yeah, fantastic match. I think they protected everybody in it to an extent. I think there's a lot of feuding going forward. I think I mentioned in the chat. I'd like to see Roman potentially go on to a feud with Cesaro. I'd love to see Edge go into a feud with KO because of like history between them and like KO idolizing. I'd love to see Brian go into something with like Seth Rollins, for example. I think there's a lot of areas they can go into for me, and I'm looking forward to it. And this really saved the night for me.
It saved the night for me as well. So in saying that, gentlemen, one-worded answers out of 5, night 2, RJ.
3.
3. Lex,
Yeah, I'm going 3.
3. Pete,
A generous 2.5. But if Apollo threw a spear, I'd give it a 4.
I'm gonna.
If the main event didn't happen, it'd be like a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh
Main
yeah,
event-
oh definitely, yeah.
I would be like 1.5 to 2 if it wasn't for the main event.
I'm gonna go 3 as well. I think that, yeah, like I said, the main event to save it. So, gentlemen, this is where we put off conclude our WrestleMania follow. Thank you, gentlemen, for lasting in these last fun 4 little recordings here that we've had. A lot of fun in the last 2 weeks, and now we're gonna take a break from all this because post WrestleMania, you do want to take a step back a little bit. So, gentlemen, thank you, and as always, let's get to the closing. You made it to the end of the episode. You made it to the end, and God, I love WrestleMania weekend. It's always so special to me. It always brings me back to that 7-year-old that first saw the event, and it's just it's always engraved in my mind. And it can be like, the best of the best weekend, or maybe like the worst WrestleMania of all time, and it'll never get old for me to see the sights, the sounds, the pyro, the fans. It was just so great to see them back. It's special to me, and I'm happy that it happened. And for now, we just put a bow on it. We say goodbye to WrestleMania from Tampa. Great hosts they were, and to make it for what it was, weather aside, it all worked out in the end for Tampa after missing out on the WrestleMania last year. So congrats to them for getting it. Of course, this is where we say, Dallas, you're up in 2022. So in saying that, we're taking a 2-week break. We're taking a 2-week break from the podcast. We will be back on the first week of May, just because it's a lot of work, and it's always nice to take a break from doing this. It's always nice to remind everybody to take care of yourselves, take a step back. You need to take a step back. Not everything always needs to happen consecutively, and you can feel refreshed when you do so. So for now, all I can say is just that. Thank you so much for watching. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, available wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to us here on YouTube. I'm Jose Tabuada, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a great one. Bye.